If I told you that one of the most powerful drinks to support male vitality after 50 is neither a prescription nor a supplement, and not something you need to order online, but something that may already be sitting quietly in your kitchen, you might be surprised. In my clinical experience as a urologist, I have seen countless men in their 50s and 60s walk into my office feeling depleted, low energy, reduced stamina, and a growing sense that their best years are behind them. Yet I have also seen those same men leave with renewed vitality, not because of a pill, but because they finally understood how to support their physiology in a way that aligns with how the body is designed to function. Before we begin, I'd like you to rate the information in this video on a scale of 1 to 10 at the end. Your feedback truly matters. It helps shape the future content of this channel. Once we understand what most of you want to learn about, we'll focus exclusively on that topic with research-based, science-backed information. Whether it's achieving stronger erections, improving blood flow, by addressing clogged penile arteries, boosting low libido, or optimizing testosterone levels, your input guides everything we create. Let me know your rating and the topic you want covered next in the comments below. Okay, so today, I want to walk you through a morning ritual that genuinely excites me as a medical professional. It is simple, grounded in both traditional practices and modern clinical research, and built around 5 carefully selected ingredients. When combined correctly, these ingredients create a biological environment that supports circulation, sustained energy, physical stamina, and hormonal balance, areas that naturally decline with age but are not beyond influence. What makes this approach remarkable is not any single ingredient. It is the synergy, the way multiple independent biological pathways are activated simultaneously, producing an effect far greater than any one component alone. To understand why this works so effectively, it helps to briefly look at history, not as a lesson, but as context. Centuries ago, long before the rise of modern pharmacology, the Aztec civilization relied on a bitter, unsweetened drink made from raw cacao. It was consumed before battle, before long journeys, and during moments that demanded peak performance. Historical accounts describe how leaders like Emperor Moctezuma used this drink not for pleasure, but for endurance, mental clarity, and sustained vitality. What is fascinating is that modern science has now revisited cacao and uncovered mechanisms that closely mirror these historical observations. Raw cacao, derived from the plant Theobroma cacao, contains an extraordinary array of bioactive compounds, over 300 identified to date. Among these, one of the most important is a flavanol called epicatechin. This compound plays a central role in vascular health by activating an enzyme known as endothelial nitric oxide synthase. This enzyme is responsible for producing nitric oxide, a critical signaling molecule that allows blood vessels to relax and expand. When blood vessels dilate efficiently, circulation improves, oxygen delivery increases, and tissues throughout the body, including those essential for male vitality, receive the nutrients they need. As men age, this nitric oxide system becomes less efficient. The endothelial lining of blood vessels loses some of its functional capacity, which contributes to reduced circulation, lower energy levels, and diminished physical performance. Epicatechin helps counteract this decline by stimulating nitric oxide production directly. In addition, it has been shown to inhibit an enzyme called phosphodiesterase type 5, which normally breaks down cyclic GMP, the molecule responsible for maintaining blood vessel relaxation. By slowing this breakdown, the vasodilatory effect becomes more sustained. From a physiological standpoint, this dual action, enhancing production and reducing degradation, creates a more stable and prolonged improvement in vascular function. Cacao also contains theobromine, a compound structurally related to caffeine but with a markedly different effect profile. Instead of sharp stimulation followed by a crash, theobromine provides a smoother, longer-lasting sense of alertness. It also contributes to vasodilation through mechanisms independent of nitric oxide, adding another layer of circulatory support. In parallel, cacao is rich in magnesium, a mineral essential for hundreds of enzymatic processes, including those that regulate vascular tone and energy metabolism. Adequate magnesium helps prevent excessive constriction of blood vessels, maintaining a more balanced and responsive circulatory system. There is also a neurological dimension. Compounds such as phenylethylamine and anandamide influence neurotransmitter activity related to motivation, mood, and focus. These effects are not incidental. They help explain why many individuals report not only physical improvements, but also enhanced mental clarity and emotional well-being with consistent cacao consumption. However, cacao alone is only the foundation. The real power emerges when it is combined with 4 additional ingredients, each contributing through a distinct physiological pathway. The first is maca root, derived from Lepidium mayeni. Traditionally cultivated in the Andes, maca has been used for centuries to support endurance and vitality. Modern research suggests that its benefits do not come from directly increasing testosterone, but rather from modulating the hypothalamic pituitary axis, the central regulatory system that governs hormonal balance. This distinction is important. Instead of forcing hormonal changes, maca appears to support the body's ability to regulate itself more effectively, particularly under stress. It also contains unique compounds that may enhance nitric oxide production through pathways that complement those activated by cacao, creating a broader and more resilient circulatory response. The second ingredient is Ceylon cinnamon, obtained from Cinnamomum verum. Its role extends far beyond flavor. One of the most overlooked contributors to declining vascular health is poor blood sugar control. Chronically elevated glucose leads to a process known as glycation, where sugar molecules bind to proteins in blood vessel walls, forming advanced glycation end products. These compounds impair endothelial function, reduce nitric oxide availability, and accelerate vascular aging. Cinnamon helps improve insulin sensitivity and stabilize blood glucose levels, thereby reducing this cumulative damage. Additionally, it contains polyphenols that protect nitric oxide from oxidative breakdown, ensuring that the molecule can exert its full biological effect. The third ingredient, cayenne pepper, introduces a compound called capsaicin. This activates TRPV1 receptors, leading to the release of calcitonin gene-related peptide, a potent vasodilator. What makes this particularly important is that it operates through an entirely different mechanism than nitric oxide. In practical terms, this means you are stimulating blood vessel relaxation through multiple independent systems at once. The combined effect is not merely additive, it is synergistic. Capsaicin also produces a mild thermogenic response, gently increasing circulation and contributing to a sustained sense of warmth and energy. The fourth ingredient, beetroot powder, adds yet another dimension. Beets are rich in dietary nitrates, which are converted into nitric oxide through the nitrate-nitrite-nitric oxide pathway. Unlike the endothelial pathway, this mechanism does not rely on the health of blood vessel linings. This is particularly valuable as men age, because even when endothelial function declines, this alternative pathway remains effective. When you combine cacao's stimulation of nitric oxide production, beetroot's independent nitrate pathway, and the inhibition of signal breakdown, you create a system where nitric oxide availability is increased from multiple directions while its effects are preserved for longer. From a clinical perspective, this layered approach represents a highly efficient way to support vascular function. Preparation is straightforward. Warm a cup of water or milk to a moderate temperature, avoiding boiling to preserve sensitive compounds. Add 2 tablespoons of raw cacao powder, 1 to 2 teaspoons of gelatinized maca, half to 1 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon, a small pinch of cayenne pepper, and 1 to 2 teaspoons of raw beetroot powder. Mix thoroughly until smooth. If desired, a small amount of honey can be added for taste. The most important principle here is consistency. This is not a quick intervention designed for immediate, dramatic effects. It is a physiological support system that builds over time. As endothelial function improves, as nitric oxide pathways become more active, and as metabolic and hormonal balance stabilizes, the changes become noticeable. Many men describe increased energy that lasts throughout the day, improved endurance, and a renewed sense of physical and mental engagement with life. These are not exaggerated claims. They are gradual, evidence-based outcomes that reflect the body functioning closer to its optimal state. The underlying message is simple but powerful. Aging does not mean inevitable decline. With the right inputs, applied consistently and grounded in science, the body retains an extraordinary capacity to adapt and improve. What ancient cultures observed through experience, modern research is now beginning to explain with precision. This information is educational in nature and should always be considered in the context of your individual health. If you have underlying conditions or are taking medications, it is important to consult a qualified healthcare professional before making changes to your routine. But for many men, this represents a practical, accessible, and scientifically grounded step toward reclaiming vitality, one consistent morning at a time.